G'day guys, Dave here from Old Rigs Down Under. I want to show you something today on a 6-cylinder Mack fuel pump. I've talked about it in a few of the other videos, just about checking the rack. We all like to check a rack out, but yeah, you just want to check the rack before or fit a fuel pump. So I've got to use this pump just to get a truck home because I've had a problem with the truck this morning. So did this pump come off a running engine? I don't know too much history on it. I've just given it a little bit of a clean up, but you can't hear that pulling the rack back. So I'm just going to take this cover off and check it out and hopefully just free it up a bit. Sounds pretty easy when you say it like that. I'll just find a couple of spanners here. So it's got a tamper-proof screw there, which I'm just removing with a center punch. They're at 24 points, so they're a little bit odd. Not real easy to get them out, but the thread's okay on this one. So what I'll do is just put a slot in the top of it with a grinder, just to make it a bit easier to reinstall it. So I mean, the whole idea of it, it's tamper-proof. You know, you're not really supposed to go into this part of the pump, otherwise nasty stuff can happen. So as you can see, that's the style of it there. So you need a special socket to fit on that, which I don't have. But anyway, that won't matter. So I'll just get this cover off. So this is a later pump with these different delivery valve holders on them. You'll notice they're 12 point instead of hex like the older ones. And actually, these pumps as well use a bigger lift pump. This one hasn't got one, but I'll be able to swap the pump out that's on the vehicle in question. So what happened to the other pump this morning? I was driving the truck along and it just felt something pop under my foot, and something didn't quite seem right. So I lifted my foot, lifted the accelerator, and the revs kept climbing, which induced a little bit of panic, it's got to be said, and realised fairly quickly that the stopper wasn't going to stop it. So I had to actually stall the thing out to get the truck stopped and get the vehicle off the road. So yeah, it was a little bit of got the heart racing for a while, that's for sure. So, and obviously not game to start it again. Interesting enough, the stopper still feels okay on it, but what my thoughts are is that it's become detached from the governor or something along those lines. So we might have a little bit of a look at it, but for the short term we just want to get this other one to a point where it's can be fitted on there. Try and keep that gasket intact. Yeah, so it's stuck in the full fuel position, the bugger. So, I don't know, it seems like it is a little bit tight. So, this piece here, I don't know if you can see where I'm pointing to, but this piece here has to come back. So, that's what we're going to work on. This piece here is fixed. So yeah, we've just got to try and get that back a little bit. So what I can do also is remove this puff limiter. That's the actual actuator for your pollution control. It just limits the rack travel. And I could get a punch in there, a long thin punch, and just tap that back slightly. But yeah, basically what we're going to try and do is just get this yoke coming backwards. Now, if it doesn't move easily, we'll probably abandon the idea. Just for now, we'll try gently prying it and give it a bit of a tap. I don't know how long since this engine's run. It did did a big end bearing or something like that. So everything up top was working okay as far as we can tell. Does feel a bit tight. Screwdriver here somewhere. See, just a slight little bit of movement out of it then. It is quite tight. It is moving. I'd whip this side cover off just to see if it's got a tight a tight delivery, not a delivery valve, but where it hooks onto each of the elements. Just seems a little bit tighter than what I'd really like. So what I'm going to do here is just a little bit more brutal. And just try and tap the rack backwards slightly. So it did come all the way back. Keep on working it back and forth. Said in previous videos before, generally speaking it's just old fuel that sticks them. Not so much of a as a mechanical fault as such. that to move a little bit freer there. It's still a bit tight coming back. Obviously that's got to move freely. You should be able to move that back and forth just with your fingers. It's getting better. So you can see that now it is getting a bit free, but it's still tight. So like I say, it is moving there. I think I'm just going to take these side covers off and just give it a little bit of lube down on each of those elements, just to try and get the help it needs. Yeah, I'll just take that side cover off. Rightio. I'll get it where you can see it a bit. Just making a mess here. It's fairly common. So it's getting a socket on the front of the fuel pump. You see all these elements going up and down here. Well, hopefully you can see that. Oh, look at that. I've got a bit of fuel coming out the top. So I'll just put a bit of diesel in these. So now our rack's nice and free. See that it'll go forward to full fuel and the stopper will stop it. So that, for my mind, is alright to be put on the vehicle. Like I say, it'll sit there to give it full fuel on startup, and that's your control over it there to stop it. So you can see with a little bit of work, not too brutal, but you were able to free that up. Like I said, most of the time they're stuck from old fuel, just the gel in the fuel goes hard, and at every pivot, every junction, there's a little bit of fuel residue left over, and when the vehicle's not in use, it just sits there and gets stuck. And yeah, you saw that before. I could barely move it with a hammer and punch, barely move it with a screwdriver, levering it forward, and now it's at a point where you can just put a finger and a thumb, and the stopper's returning it. So I'm happy with that. That's a bit of a win. Look, I don't know any history on the rest of the pump. It might be really sad. It could be an absolute ripper. That's part of the luck of the draw of a second-hand pump. But yeah, just for today, all it has to do is to be able to run the engine, or maybe for the next couple of weeks while we get the other one repaired. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'll put this cover back on. I'll dry it all up. Be very careful of that gasket. And yeah, we'll get it out there and get it on the truck. But anyway, that gives you a little bit of an idea into just freeing up that. Be a little bit careful where you place your pry bar. I mean, they're not really meant for too much violence in there. Like I say, just a flat punch on the front of the rack was able just to get it moving backwards initially. So yeah, I think it's going to be all right to start the vehicle. Certainly we're going to have some control over it. Like I've showed in videos before, I always crack the injector lines off and try and start it. I'll get fuel coming out of them, and then we'll crack the starter again, hold the stopper back, and make sure that it cuts the fuel. We did that with the white tractor the other day, done it with the old F model Mack over here that we call Bob. So it's just a little bit of peace of mind that you know you're going to be able to physically stop it if it wants to get away on you. All right, we'll get this thing cleaned up and fit it up. Righto, so you can see what I've done with that screw there. I've just put a slot in the top of it where I'll be able to install it with a screwdriver and put a bit of tension on it. Rightio, we're getting close now. So because on the vehicle his lift pump and his pressure regulator valve have been working well, I'll reuse them, and I'll reuse his stopper, his throttle arm there, whether we use that or not. But yeah, it's got the nice sound about it now. Before it was only going to there, and it wasn't pulling the rack back, but now you can hear it pulling it back. So that's exactly what you want to hear. Well, here we are in an idyllic roadside location. We're just going to try and get this truck started now, so I'll put that fuel pump on. Everything on there and hooked up, timed, and we're just about to start priming it, so I'll just go through the normal process. But yeah, that's the old pump there, that's the problem child. So there'll be something playing up in that governor housing. Just seems like it's come detached from the rack. So anyway, I might even pull that apart later and have a look. But anyway, that's the project for now. Sorry, this is the project for now. We'll hopefully have this thing running before too long. They are a bit of a bugger to bleed sometimes, but this is an electric start, so can wind it over that little bit longer to get the fuel coming through the pump. So that's what I'll be working on. Stay tuned. Alrighty, well, pump's on, installed, timed. I've spun the thing over to get fuel out the top of the pump, and I've also pulled the stopper cable while I was doing that and made sure that it was in fact cutting the fuel. It's done both of those things, so I'm happy enough to start it, give it a crack now. Not much wrong with that. Singing like a bird. That'll just about do me. Well, I'm very happy with that anyway. That's a good result. So yeah, we'll get it back to home base and give it a road test and make sure it's all okay, and yeah, then I suppose I could pull that other pump apart. Maybe just pull that lid off and see if I can see something there. But anyway, very happy with that. Well, thanks for watching, guys. That'll finish the video there. We ended up doing a little bit of work with Sutto's little Valueliner, do some adjustments on the fuel side of the pump to just get it up to where it used to be. But it's performed really well over the last week or so and really helped me out. So thanks for watching. A little bit of a different video today. I hope you're able to get something out of it. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys. Righto, it's running. You know, it's running not too bad. It's revs up and blows a bit of smoke. I'm happy with that. But of all the features of the truck that I like the most at the moment, is the fact you can stop it with a stopper. That'll do me.